Hello and welcome. I'm Chloe Sweden, Head of Mumsnet Talent and champion of flexible working. I did consider doing this talk live over Skype today to prove the point that flex really does work, but I heard that if I presented in person, I could get a 3D chocolate model of my face. So here I am. Haven't got my chocolate model yet, but I wanted to talk to you today about flexible working and how we at Mumsnet believe there is a huge untapped talent pool out there, if only employers could bend ever so slightly to accommodate them. I know, you agree. We all agree flexible working is the future of work. Employees want flexible work, employers want flexible work. I am preaching here and you, the choir, are singing right back at me. Maybe you and your organisation are the exception to the rule, though. Unfortunately, the evidence suggests that whilst businesses talk a good game, flexible working isn't yet the norm. Although the right to request flexible working was introduced in 2014, just 9.8% of jobs paying more than 20k are now advertised as being flexible. With new legislation on the way that will mean all employers must offer flexible work as a default. I'll repeat that, just in case with Brexit dominating the political news agenda, you may have missed this crucial bill. There is a government consultation in place to force all employers to advertise all roles as fully flexible. And if you can't, or you won't, you'll have to ask special permission from the Equalities Commission. Flex is coming, whether you're on board or not. So over here is a huge swathe of the population asking for flex, and somewhere over there is a shortage of qualified staff willing to perform your roles. In fact, over 90% of organisations in the UK struggled to find workers with the right skills over the past 12 months, according to a new report commissioned by the Open University. Everybody is fighting over the same talent. Everyone loves a dog. So we're quite a cat company in Mumsnet, but I love dogs. With skills in short supply, over 70% of senior business leaders find that the recruitment process is taking longer, by an average of 1 month and 22 days. As a result, nearly 2 in 3 report spending more on recruitment, with costs increasing by 49%, or £1.23 billion in total. £1.23 billion extra pounds being spent on finding talent, only for talent to leave for pastures greener. Now that may be making a few of you in the room a little bit richer, and you know who you are. I might be able to spot you. But for everyone else, it represents a huge headache at best, and at worst, a terrible business model. There must be a different way. At Mumsnet, we believe there is. We have over 10 million parents in our community who tell us every day that things need to change. They are a skilled, trained, and experienced workforce asking for businesses to work flexibly and are being rejected. The secret is that these statistics on the skills shortage overlook this audience, a vast swathe of the population who have years of experience in these industries and who have vanished from the jobs market simply because it is not feasible for them to fit work around their other commitments. Take Nina, a Mumsnetter we interviewed in May 2018. Nina worked in insurance for 5 years before taking a career break to raise her children. When we spoke to her, she'd been trying to get back into insurance for 6 months without success. If she had applied at entry level, she was told she was overqualified. But if she applied at the level she had been working at, she was rejected for having taken a break. Because of the narrow mindset of the company she applied for, her skills, talent, and experience were going to waste. And those companies spent more time and more money competing over candidates. Allowing talent like Nina to slip through the net is ludicrous. By not embracing flex or by paying lip service to flex, only to allow company culture to override it, you're cutting yourself off from talent. Talent like Spidey here, who I have it on very good authority, is in fact a mother of 4 called Janet from Rotherham. It's true. Meanwhile, this is the sad reality of those candidates looking for a hint of flexibility. Here we see a mum looking for a marketing role, making the request before a final round interview to work 8 to 5 instead of 9 to 6, in order to pick her child up before nursery closed. This was the response she received. Unfortunately, the management has reconsidered and no longer wishes to proceed with the meeting. The feedback is that we would be unable to make an exemption to the 9 to 6 day, and this would create issues, in brackets, for us in the long run. We would like to thank you again for your interest in, I've blanked out the name, and for taking the time to meet with someone who should definitely name nameless. We wish you all the best in your job search. It's a crying shame, like genuinely, this woman was amazing. This is only a very, very recent example. Okay, so I'm selling this lofty dream where every role is advertised as fully flexible, every hiring manager is on board with running their teams remotely, and every high-performing, never-before-seen candidate is biting off your arm for your job. Yes, it is a dream, but it can become a reality. Over the course of the next 10-15 minutes, I hope to convince you that in order to truly embrace a flexible working culture and attract an untapped talent base, thus ending the never-ending attrition crisis you all face, all you need is the Mumsnet 5 steps to flex. Okay, so somewhat controversially, I hope to convince you all to leave today and implement the following in your organisations. I want you to abolish part-time. I don't want you to give parents any special treatment. I want you to give everybody a Mac. I want you to perfect the art of micromanagement, and I want you to essentially fire quite a lot of people. I think we should go through them one by one before you boot me off the stage. So number 1, abolish part-time. Okay, so part-time may sum up most people's assumptions of the flexible working dream, but we don't believe labelling it as such is helpful to a modern workplace. Segregating those who work full-time and are therefore fully functioning members of the organisation to those who only can contribute part of the week paves the way for unhelpful bias. You're not paying me for 4 days, you're paying me to do the job. This is what I said once when I myself was negotiating my pay going into a part-time job, one where I didn't work Fridays. You're paying someone to do a job, and if they can do that job in less than the hours of the traditional working week, they're fulfilling that. If they can't, then maybe they should be job sharing. Basically, the hours worked needs to reflect the workload for employees to achieve the desired output of their role. This is a point about semantics, yes, but reframing the way we talk about flexible working is crucial to building a more successful world for employers and employees alike. Performance should be the guiding star of your hiring strategy. If we reframe the way we talk about flex in a way that accurately reflects reality, there may be less resistance. Some businesses have adopted the moniker prime timers to refer to those who work less or different pattern to standard 9 to 5, 5-day a week. But maybe we shouldn't even be calling them out as any different to any other paid employees. Which leads me to my next point. Number 2, don't give parents special treatment. Now, you may be surprised for someone from Mumsnet to be standing up and saying that, right? Isn't Mumsnet all about parents? Aren't we about banging the drum for mums first? Sure, in part we are, but flexible working shouldn't just be for parents. Parents are just pushing the agenda. Much like the porn industry. Work with me here. There's quite a lot of correlation between Mumsnet and porn, which I'll leave for another day. But the internet would not have found a solid consumer base without pornography. Not only did the adult industry find enough early consumers to keep the internet around, but it then pioneered streaming video, tracking devices, online credit card transactions, the whole concept of e-commerce, which is now a major part of the world economy, owes much of its early existence to pornography. So it turns out we all have desperate porn seekers to thank for the internet surviving and thriving. And in turn, in the not too distant future, employees everywhere will thank desperate job-seeking parents for pushing on the door for flex. And in the meantime, it will mean that working parents like Mumsnetter KitKat 1985 won't be subjected to workplace resentment. I promise I didn't make that name up, but I do like a KitKat. So she says, or he says, it's all anonymous. One of the biggest issues I get with my flexible working agreement is not from management, but from other employees who are resentful that they can't also work hours that suit them better, or I get little digs about things. The atmosphere of resentment is not a nice one to work with, and really, if an employee would like to do compressed hours or a later start, or whatever reasons other than childcare and the nature of their job means that it's doable, why should it just apply to parents? It would actually benefit parents too, as they wouldn't be seen as just wanting special treatment all the time, which can be a real barrier to promotions, etc. Moreover, I reference my very first point. Everyone wants flex. Flex is the future. A report from 2018 claims that over 40% of the UK workers now have a side hustle, and that number is expecting to increase to half of the adult population by 2030, as the trend grows at an unprecedented pace. And there are hundreds of other reasons why an employee might want flexibility: those caring for elderly family members, those with mental health issues, or those with disabilities. In the age of freelancing and the gig economy, the need for freelancing is only growing. There is no need to treat parents differently. Instead, allow everybody to work flexibly, regardless of their reasons. Number 3, give everyone a Mac, or a PC, or a tablet, or any other laptop, in fact. Just something with a damn good internet connection and the means to access every tool, every document, every report they need to complete their jobs as if they were sitting at their desk at work. Of course, not every role can be done from a laptop in the comfort of somebody's home. What about Amy on reception? I hear you cry. Of course, there will always be the Amys and a multitude of other departments and roles for whom this will not work. All we're saying is, make it standard in your business tomorrow for those roles where it is feasible. If you don't have the technology to enable flexible working, you are going to fall at the first hurdle. This is all about making it easy for people to do their jobs well. Put everything in the cloud, throw out the servers and the stress, and watch productivity rise. Number 4, perfect the art of micromanagement. Okay, so maybe not micromanagement, but certainly a new type of management that goes beyond checking that Tom is still at his desk at 5:30 p.m. There has been a huge rise in fear of micromanagement, so much so that our leaders have forgotten to manage. With it has come the rise in remote working. But how do you allow whole teams to work from home with the old-fashioned fear that they're just going to watch Homes Under the Hammer or enter competitions to win a holiday to Lanzarote on This Morning? You've all done it. A lot of resistance to flexibility is that certain elements of it sound so easy to exploit. But this problem doesn't only apply to flex. At the end of the day, it's just as easy to slack off in the office as it is at home. So how can you make sure you're getting the best work out of your employees? I think we would all agree that if your employees are at home doing nothing, they shouldn't be employed. But by measuring performance solely in terms of output, you'll turn the focus to what they can achieve with their time, not the time allocated to do the task. If everyone knows they'll be judged and rewarded on their outputs alone, it really doesn't matter where or when they do the work, as long as it gets done. This way of thinking has been championed by the developers of the results-only work environment for many years. Under Rowe, accountability and responsibility are expected and rewarded. Managers address performance issues, not attendance or tardiness issues. If you judge your employees' performance on output only, the hours and locations they work become irrelevant. It's up to managers to make sure their teams are producing results. Whilst I'm not suggesting that you move to a completely results-only work environment overnight, I do believe you can train up your managers tomorrow to be better equipped to focus on output rather than presenteeism. Fire more, hire less. I know firing is the worst part of everybody's jobs here in the room, mine too, but we are in the middle of a revolution here, and if you make all the changes that we've suggested today and your organisation is still rejecting flexible working requests and your talent pipeline is thin or your attrition rate high, then maybe the problem is somewhere else. Maybe it's best to get rid of the bad apples that are spoiling it for the rest of us. Maybe sometimes hiring managers cannot get past their own needs to think of the needs of the business. We've all heard the excuses. If I allow Jack to come in at 9:30 on a Tuesday to drop his kids off to school, the whole team will want to come in late. Or worse than that, dismissing candidate choices based off their flexible working requests. We at Mumsnet hear all the time that a lot of the problems enlightened talent leaders such as yourselves face are archaic approaches from individual hiring managers that prevent the progression of flex in the workplace. We believe that if they are the barrier to flex in your organisation, then they need to be exited from the business in order to ensure that you can access the untapped talent pool that they keep rejecting. Fire them, let them reject that amazing talent base at your competitors. Win-win. So, the 5 steps are designed to be the beginning of the journey, not the end. Implemented right, they can give you the right foundation to take flex to the next level. The positive stories from users on Mumsnet prove that with the right support, you can build a talented and loyal workforce. One returning Mumsnetter we spoke to, Catherine, described returning to work after 6 years as no big deal, because the law firm she works for are understanding, accommodate her needs for flex, and in return for a small amount of effort, they get an employee who is highly skilled, happy, productive, and loyal to their company. The journey to true flexibility, where every business, that's not me, where every business operates on an output-only system, feels like a long way away, I know. But with these small steps, you can hack the skills shortage and improve your business's retention rate, employer brand, and ultimately, the bottom line. Talent is at the heart of every business, and you alone have the ability to make the biggest impact. Thank you very much.